Welcome to excelmasterseries.com. Today we're going to make an interactive Excel chart. We're going to graph the hypergeometric distribution, its probability density function. So let's take a look at this. There are three parameters in this distribution. Let's take a look at them. First parameter is the number of successes initially available. Let's see what happens if we vary that from 1 to 2, change the graph. Then we'll change it right back to 1 as we had it initially. It's back to 1. Okay. Second parameter, sample size. Let's go from 3 to 4. See what happens. And then 4 to 2. There's 2. Okay, and then back to 3 as we originally had it. Now, third parameter is population size. Change that to 1. Not much there. Okay, change that. Let's see 10. Okay, there's 10. Let's bring it up to 50. See how 50 looks. 50 looks good. Alright, bring it back to 20 as we originally had it. Now, what we've got to do, this is what we're going to create, an interactive Excel graph. And the first steps are to create the X and Y axis data. Let's start with the X data. The X-axis, the number of successes initially available, starts with 0. And each successive piece of data is the previous plus 1. And we're going to drag that formula down. So the way to do that is to put the cursor right at the corner, watch it turn into an X, and then drag the formula down as far as you want it. So there it is. Okay, let's go over to the Y-axis. Take a look at what that formula is in cell C36. It's a complicated formula. That is the formula in C36. It's an if-then-else statement. Goes in there. And let's verify what the inputs are. So hit the precedence button and you can see the user inputs and the X-axis are the inputs for that number right there. Okay, and we're going to drag it down. First we want to make sure that that cell is clear and not blue colored, so we don't drag the blue down. And let's put the cursor in the corner, drag it down right there. Now we have the X and the Y-axis data. The next step is to make a chart. Let's do that right now. So put the cursor anywhere you want, anywhere, and then hit Insert Chart. This is Excel 2003, by the way. Okay, it's an area chart. First or second variation doesn't matter. Next page, rows and columns, and we're going to put in the first series of Y data. So hit Add. We're adding that, and the name of that label for the Y data is the probability of a given number of successes based upon sample size, population size, number of successes initially available, and sampling without replacement. The hypergeometric distribution. Here's an example of what it might be. Suppose you had a 20-piece chocolate sample consisting of 8 caramel samples and 12 nut samples. The hypergeometric distribution would calculate, for example, the probability that out of 4 samples, 3 of those taken will be caramels, and each sample is eaten. It's not replaced. That is sampling without replacement. The hypergeometric distribution is similar to the binomial distribution, except binomial distribution is sampling with replacement. Hypergeometric distribution is sampling without replacement. Okay, so we've now just about finished putting in the Y label, and now we're going to put in values for that Y-axis next after we finish that. You see that label went in there. So values, hit that little square in the middle and select the Y-axis. That would be the probability density function that we just calculated. Select all of them and no more. Go back, hit that little square in the corner. Now we're going to put the X-axis data in. Select that corner square and let's go up and get all the X-axis data. Highlight all of that. Hit the square in the corner. Puts the data in the graph. There we go. Let's go to the next page. Put the graph title in. And graph title is hypergeometric distribution probability density function. And the X-axis, as we mentioned before, you can see as you type it in, that information gets put right into the graph. The X-axis is S equals the number of successes initially available. We're almost finished the graph. We've just about created an interactive graph already. Almost done. So we put that in there. Then we're going to go on to the next page and put the chart title in. Okay, have the chart title in there. And graph is completed. We're going to drag the graph out. We had to stretch the graph a little bit to the right to get the whole Y label to fit into its square. Let's put the newly constructed chart on top of our old one that we had in place before and test out the interactivity and see if it works. Okay, the new chart's in there. Let's stretch it out and completely cover the old one. Okay, let's check out the parameters and see if we've done it right. Alright, varying the number of successes initially available. First parameter, 1 to 2. Okay, changes the graph. 6, can't do it at 6. Back to 2. Okay, second parameter. Well, we're still in the first one, number 1. And then back to the second parameter, sample size, vary that from 3 to 5. There it is. 5 to 9. Back to 3. Third parameter, the population size, 20 down to 5. 5 to 50. And so there you have it. If you would like to master MBA level statistics in Excel, check out our Excel Statistical Master series of e-manuals at www.excelmasterseries.com/emanual.php. Thank you very much and goodbye.